In a serene valley nestled between towering mountains, there existed an ancient Zen monastery known as Ryokufuji, or Temple of the Green Breeze. This temple, surrounded by lush greenery and flowing streams, was a place of learning and enlightenment. It was here that seekers of wisdom came from far and wide, hoping to glean insights from the revered Zen master, Master Hoshin. Master Hoshin was known for his profound teachings and his ability to distill complex truths into simple, life-changing lessons. His serene demeanor and penetrating gaze had a way of reaching deep into the hearts of his disciples. One summer morning, a young man named Kazuki arrived at Ryokufuji, seeking answers to his life's questions. Kazuki was a successful businessman, but despite his material wealth, he felt a deep void within. He had heard of Master Hoshin's wisdom and hoped to find the peace and purpose that eluded him. As he entered the temple grounds, the sound of a bamboo flute played by one of the monks greeted him, blending harmoniously with the rustling leaves and chirping birds. Kazuki felt a sense of calm he hadn't experienced in years. He was welcomed by a novice monk who led him to Master Hoshin's quarters. The master was sitting in his garden, tending to a bonsai tree. The sight of the aged master, so immersed in his simple task, filled Kazuki with awe and respect. "Master Hoshin, my name is Kazuki," he said, bowing deeply. "I have come seeking wisdom. Despite all my achievements, I feel lost. I wish to understand the true essence of life. Can you guide me?" Master Hoshin looked up from his bonsai and smiled gently. "Welcome, Kazuki. The path to understanding begins with the desire to learn. Stay with us for a while. Observe, meditate, and reflect. In time, you will find the answers you seek." The lesson of simplicity. Kazuki began his days at the monastery by participating in the monks' routines, meditation at dawn, silent meals, and mindful labor. Each activity was performed with a focus on the present moment, a stark contrast to his previous life, filled with distractions and constant stress. One afternoon, Master Hoshin invited Kazuki to join him for tea. They sat on a wooden deck overlooking a tranquil pond. The master poured the tea with deliberate, graceful movements, his actions embodying mindfulness. "Kazuki," the master began, "what do you see around you?" Kazuki looked around. "I see the pond, the trees, the flowers, and the sky." "And what do you feel?" "I feel peaceful. This place is beautiful and calming." Master Hoshin nodded. The first important thing in life is simplicity. Our lives are often cluttered with unnecessary things and thoughts. When we simplify our lives, we make space for peace and clarity. Like this garden, which is beautiful in its simplicity, our lives too can be serene and fulfilling if we remove the clutter. Kazuki pondered the master's words. He realized how complicated his life had become, filled with constant demands and possessions that did little to bring him true happiness. The lesson of gratitude. Days turned into weeks, and Kazuki continued to learn from the master and the monks. One morning, Master Hoshin took Kazuki on a walk through the nearby forest. The air was crisp, and the morning sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the path. They came upon a clearing where a small shrine stood, dedicated to the spirits of nature. Master Hoshin knelt and offered a prayer, then turned to Kazuki. "Tell me, Kazuki, what are you grateful for?" Kazuki thought for a moment. "I am grateful for my family, for my health, and for this opportunity to learn from you." "Gratitude is the second important thing in life," Master Hoshin said. "When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we have. This shift in perspective brings contentment and joy. Like the forest that thrives on the gifts of the sun and rain, our hearts thrive when we acknowledge and appreciate the blessings in our lives." Kazuki reflected on his life back in the city. He had often taken his blessings for granted, always striving for more rather than appreciating what he already had. The master's words resonated deeply with him. The lesson of compassion. One day, Kazuki observed a monk tending to an injured bird. The monk carefully cleaned the bird's wounds and provided it with food and shelter. Master Hoshin, who was watching as well, turned to Kazuki and said, "Compassion is the third important thing in life." He continued, "True happiness and fulfillment come from our ability to empathize with others and act with kindness. When we open our hearts to others' suffering, we cultivate a sense of connection and purpose. Just as this monk cares for the injured bird, we must care for those around us, offering help and support where we can." Kazuki remembered instances where he had been so consumed by his work that he neglected the needs of those around him. He realized that showing compassion could not only help others but also bring him a deeper sense of fulfillment, the lesson of mindfulness. Weeks later, during a meditation session, Kazuki struggled to quiet his mind. Thoughts about his business, his family, and his future swirled incessantly. Sensing his unease, Master Hoshin approached him after the session. "Kazuki, your mind is like a turbulent river. To find peace, you must learn to still the waters. This brings us to the fourth important thing in life, mindfulness. The master explained, mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, without judgment or distraction. It allows us to experience life more deeply and respond to situations with clarity and calmness. When we are mindful, we are not lost in the past or the future, but fully engaged with the present. Master Hashin then guided Kazuki in a mindful breathing exercise, teaching him to focus on his breath and let go of distracting thoughts. Over time, Kazuki found that this practice brought him a sense of inner calm and improved his ability to concentrate. The lesson of purpose. As Kazuki's time at the monastery was nearing its end, he found himself in deep contemplation. He had learned much, but he still sought to understand his life's purpose. One evening, Master Hashin invited him to the temple's highest point, where they could see the entire valley bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. Kazuki, the master began, the fifth and final important thing in life is purpose. Each of us has a unique path and a reason for being. Discovering and embracing this purpose gives our lives meaning and direction. He continued, purpose is not always about grand achievements. It can be found in simple acts of kindness, in the work we do, or in the love we share. It is about living authentically and aligning our actions with our values and passions. Kazuki reflected on his life's journey and realized that his true purpose was not solely tied to his business success. It was also about contributing to the well-being of others, fostering meaningful relationships, and living a life of integrity and authenticity. With a heart full of newfound wisdom, Kazuki prepared to leave Ryokufuji. Master Hashin gave him a parting gift, a small scroll with the words simplicity, gratitude, compassion, mindfulness, purpose written in elegant calligraphy. Kazuki, these 5 principles are the pillars of a fulfilling life. Remember them as you continue your journey. May you find peace and joy in living by these truths. Kazuki bowed deeply, tears of gratitude filling his eyes. Thank you, Master Hashin. Your teachings have transformed my life. I will carry them with me always. As Kazuki walked down the path leading away from the monastery, he felt a profound sense of peace and clarity. He understood that the true essence of life was not in the endless pursuit of material success, but in embracing simplicity, practicing gratitude, showing compassion, being mindful, and living with purpose. Back in the bustling city, Kazuki faced the challenges of integrating his newfound wisdom into his daily life. He simplified his routines, letting go of possessions and commitments that no longer served him. He started each day with a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things he was thankful for. At work, Kazuki fostered a culture of compassion, encouraging his team to support each other and engage in community service. He practiced mindfulness, taking moments throughout the day to breathe deeply and center himself. Kazuki also reconnected with his passions, finding purpose in mentoring young entrepreneurs and volunteering at local charities. His life, once filled with stress and dissatisfaction, now felt rich with meaning and fulfillment. The legacy. Years later, Kazuki became known not just as a successful businessman, but as a wise and compassionate leader. People sought his advice, drawn to his calm presence and insightful guidance. He often shared the story of his time at Ryokufuji and the lessons he learned from Master Hashin. Kazuki's children, inspired by their father's transformation, also embraced the 5 principles in their lives. They too found fulfillment in simplicity, gratitude, compassion, mindfulness, and purpose. Kazuki's legacy was not just in the wealth he amassed or the businesses he built, but in the lives he touched and the wisdom he imparted.